That's fun.
Welcome. Are you joined by a
My
puppy
mom
today?
is leaving her office, making a lot of noise, but she's on her way out, so it's fine.
Well, bye, Lisa. Much love to you. Well, welcome, Kaela. I'm so glad to have you with me today. And this is a soul connection call. In case you have not caught one of my soul connection calls, these are just open, authentic conversations where we get together and we talk about whatever's on our mind, not in a bypassy way, not in a toxic positivity way, just whatever is really truly on our hearts. So, Kaela, would you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Kaela Gedda. Let's see, how do I want to introduce myself? So, as a human being, what there is to know about me is that I am comprised of the qualities of power, light, joy. I feel like I really resonate with being a unicorn and a mermaid. So that's something fun. Like the energies of who a unicorn and a mermaid are, I am like me. I see myself in that. So that's what to know about me as a human. As a professional, I am an ontological life coach and I work specifically with soulful entrepreneurs and leaders. And so, just to take that back, ontology is the study of being. And so, I work with my clients behind the scenes on who we're being as humans while we're in the process of creating our most rich dream lives and having the results in our businesses that come along. And then just to share some roles of who I am a daughter and a sister. I am a wife to my husband, Tom. We're coming up on our 2-year anniversary. I am a dog mom to Murray and Millie, and we have chickens. So,
How
right?
did I not know you had chickens?
Really? You didn't know that? Yes, we have 2 remaining. Chickens have it's tough going for them sometimes.
It is.
We tr- much sometimes I don't know with the dogs how we have some scuffles, but we have two hanging
Oh.
on.
Wow, that's a whole story in of itself
Yeah,
right there.
it's recently been very hot at our house about this. We've solved it, I think, but it's been interesting.
Rest in peace, chickens. Oh man. So thank you for that introduction. I learned something new about you, which I always love. I love when I learn new things about people. And I didn't, I knew you're a coach because obviously I've worked with you, but I didn't know that there was a specific flavor of coach that you
Mm.
are. So thank you for that new vocabulary word. And just in case you don't know me, I'm Safrianna Luna, the Queer Spirit Guide. And as a human being, I also resonate with unicorn and mermaid energy. So I think that's why you and I get along so well.
Immediately, I was like, I see Safrianna. Yeah.
I mean, I'm total water baby. I'm so envious every time I see you at the beach. And every time I see you at the beach, I'm just holding like I'm gonna be there soon. Like I
Yeah.
can see it. And I love celebrating that you're at the beach. It's a great
Thank you.
renegotiation.
Thank you. When I was sorry, this is the middle of your intro.
Oh,
One
that's
of
fine.
my big goals when I was leaving corporate America was that I wanted to be able to work from my swimsuit. Not that people would see, just that I would be on the phone, but like that was a requirement. Is like, can I be in my swimsuit? Then I know that I've made it.
I love that. And that is now my new litmus test. Yes.
Yeah.
My dream is to have a luxury, eco friendly RV that I can just drive to all the forests and all the
Yeah.
beaches and work out of my RV while I travel the world.
Ooh, I
Well,
love
mainly the
that.
United States. But yes, I will be on the beaches in my RV someday.
Amazing.
So, Kaela, there's so much I want to talk to you about today. Like, having some time to just have a one-on-one conversation with you is such a privilege. You and I are both very busy people, right? We have these big goals and these big dreams, and we're both fur baby parents and partners and daughters and sisters and all of these things. I'm curious, like in your journey, because your story is just so inspirational. In your journey, what was that turning point for you where you were like, I am going all in for me? We're done with this doing it for everyone else. We're all in for me first.
Mm.
What was that?
Okay. I think there's probably many, but the first one that comes to mind is I was just talking about it on a call you and I were on. And so I was on a phone call getting the information about a coaching program that I wanted to invest in. And I had never invested in myself before. I mean, I went to college, so I had invested in myself before, but it seemed less of like a conscious investment. For me, college was more like you go to college. And I know
Everyone
that's not the case
does.
for everyone. That's just how it was for me. And so that was a way that I had invested in myself, but I had never made the conscious choice. Like, I'm going to take this money and figure it out. And I was terrified because when I say take this money, I had $100,000 of debt. So I wasn't taking it from anywhere. Like, I didn't have accounts that were overflowing with it. But I was going to like really figure it out and make the commitment. And I can remember distinctly driving into my apartment complex, hitting the curb because I always hit the curb. And to this day, if I drive with my husband, he's like, make a wider turn in the driveway, Kaela. And that's a whole thing in itself. So I was hitting the curb and just saying to myself, I'm going to do this. Like, I don't know how. This does not make any logical sense. If I told other people, they would say, you're crazy. But I am going to do this because I know that I must. Like, somewhere deep in my soul, it is urging me to follow this for me. And so that was the first moment.
Yeah. And, so I've been in the Joy Challenge with you this week, and I'm a member of the circle. And I love being in these groups, these coaching groups where it's like you feel like your peers. It's not hierarchical. You are a human that brings your human experience and wisdom to the forefront. And obviously you've been trained. But anyway, this immersion has been really eye-opening for me as to where I'm at in my journey. Because gosh, if I had done this challenge a year ago, even I wouldn't have been able to embrace the joy the way that I have after working, in your space in a year. And I'm seeing all these people coming into the group, into the Joy Challenge, who are just like, oh, they're so hard on themselves and they're so don't know how to put themselves first yet. And my heart is just like throbbing for them, right? Like, I'm like, you are so close. You just,
Because we know it, right? We've been
know it.
there and we're like, it can change for you.
Yes,
Yeah.
it can. And I mean, I even see that with my loved ones. As the kind of creatrix in the family, I sort of take the first steps often. I'm like the go-getter and the one that does it first and says like, look, I did it. It's not so scary. It's okay. And, what is that like for you when you're seeing these people really, they're struggling to accept joy. They're struggling to know that that is their birthright, their inheritance, their whatever you want to call it. What does that bring up in you?
It brings up in me a commitment to hold the space.
Mm.
For a while, before, I used to feel like I want this for you and I like have compassion for you and I feel bad if you don't choose it. And now I don't notice those things as much. What I notice now is I'm like, great, thank you for being on this journey. Wherever you are, I can hang, I can be with you, and I'm going to hold the space. Like, I'm going to hold the door open for as long as it takes because I can remember being on my journey. I know the time when other people were holding the door and I was not ready yet. And so what it brings up for me is just it reinforces my commitment to hold the space. Because I found that when I was just feeling bad for people, like, oh, you were not there yet, it didn't help them.
Yeah, that's such a great point.
And so now I'm just like, great, thanks for being on your path. I'll hold the door, and like, come or not, someone's going to come in this door. So I'll just keep holding it.
I love that. And I think that's such a great way to frame that, just literally for any area of life where you feel like you're waiting, you're hoping, your desire that they're going to be right alongside you, right where you're at, experiencing the good life where you're at. And yeah, like some people just aren't ready to step into that. I love the idea of holding the door because I, of course, want to be like, come on, you can do it. But if they didn't ask for that encouragement, then
totally. Like, I also am holding, like, if this is for you, come on in. If you see yourself in this, come on in. But without the like, you're going to miss it if you don't. That's what I had to learn to let go. Because I think there is a little bit of a shift. Like, at first, when we have a big breakthrough, I was totally there. I was totally in the space of like, everyone else is not choosing it. You are missing out. And that's a judgment. I was holding a judgment of like, you're missing out because I just chose this thing and my life is different. And then I realized that me having that judgment is not helping them. And so now I can be cheering for like, if you resonate for this, come on in. I'm so here for you. I'll hold the door. And if it's something else, I'll cheer for that too.
Yeah, I am fascinated. I know you and I have We've been talking in comments that we need to talk about Body of Nine, and
Yeah.
you are going to be my favorite case study when I finally learn your natural number. I have suspicions. I have very
Okay.
strong suspicions. I'm training in it. I can't wait to find out if I'm right or not. But yes, it helps you step into your authenticity and can help you with these pieces of like knowing how to hold space for others when
Mm.
you yourself are struggling. And um gosh, like you just are such a beautiful space holder. And I can say that as a natural number nine, that's my superpower is holding space for other people. And I don't think you're a nine. We're so alike though. Maybe, but you do hold such a beautiful space for people and you can feel that energetic difference. And I think all of us can hold energetic space, but um, you've really cultivated that talent and you can feel it. And that makes such a difference.
Thank you. You know, I agree that that is definitely one of my gifts, and I know that I absolutely learned it from my mom because she is the queen of space holding and has always and continues to hold space. And I think that while I am exceptional at holding space for others, I'm a lot to hold space for. Like I'm like a big energy to hold space for. And so for my mom to have consistently held the space that she does for me, I just had the perfect model of like I see how.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that you acknowledge it just in some of your talks and in this challenge. Like, I love in your business that you and Lisa work together and that you acknowledge each other's gifts because it really points to me how possible it is to have generational healing, right? Lisa shared this story of being that burnt out business owner and like being the mom and being all in and like burning herself out to the point where she was losing herself. And then she was able to do this healing work, which amplifies your ability to do the healing work like a billion times. You can do the healing work on your own, but when your matriarch, right, the person who carried you in their body also does the work, it passes down.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Absolutely. It really is a gift that we do this together and our commitment is so deep. It really is a gift.
Do you ever, I'm really curious because, you know, my business, Living Luna slash our full LLC is kind of a family business as well.
Okay. Yeah.
And family business in an entirely different way because it's our polyam family. And I get a lot of flack for it. I'm wondering, have you experienced that like judgment of you being in a family business?
No. Mm-mm.
Really
That
interesting.
people are always two things. Like one, like, that's so cool. I wish I could do it. Or like, wow, how does that work? It's like those are the two, like with genuine curiosity. Cause I'm sure they're thinking like me and my mom or me and my whoever. So no, it's usually like total kind of like loving envy of like, I wish I would
Yeah.
have that, or like such curiosity.
I mean, you two are very wholesome together, right? Like all your photos together, you just look like you're having a great time and you can see the energy when you're live together. It's beautiful. Yeah. I was curious about that because you know, I'm the queer spirit guide. I help the LGBTQIA community and our allied communities learn more about how to be inclusive. And I've always loved that about Rise Leadership Circle. You guys were inclusive from moment one. Because I came in and I was like, hi, I'm queer. Am I welcome here? And you're like, come on in, right? And I wonder if there isn't stigma that I'm in a family business in a non-traditional relationship
Mm,
structure. Some curious, yeah, I'm curious to tease that out a little bit more over time. There's no one size fits all for business
absolutely not.
or relationships,
And business, I always say our business is an extension of who we are. And so if we don't fit the typical mold, our business won't either.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
speaking of fitting typical molds, I want chickens. I would not have expected you to have chickens, but I do know you love animals, so now it
You
tracks.
know, I would never have said I wanted chickens, but my husband grew up with chickens. And so when we bought our house, I was like, I will immediately be getting a dog. And he's like, I'll immediately be getting chickens. And I was like, okay, great. So we did. Our dogs and chickens are all turning 6 this year. Everybody's gonna be 6 in our house.
The remaining surviving chickens.
The surviving one. Yeah, we lost 3 to tragic circumstances. And I'll just tell you. So let's see. The first one to go, Rihanna, RIP. She was a little baby chick, and a falcon picked her up. and dropped her in the neighbor yard. And that was, I mean, they've all been traumatizing for me. So we're like out in the yard, and all of a sudden I'm like, "Where's Rihanna?" And we're looking, and she's in the Falcon. The Falcon had her. Then this was a mistake on my husband. I'm just going to blame him. He tried to rescue a chicken from another farm, which was so nice, but you can't bring one chicken into a group of 4. The other chickens, it was Mean Girls in my backyard. Like the movie Mean Girls,
no.
they went, I mean, they literally, like, they picked her to death. It was so rude. And I would watch them like exile her. And I'm like, you have to be nice to your sister. They didn't
And they're
care.
like, no.
So Cardi B, she also died of a broken heart, I think, from her sisters. Then the most traumatizing, this was just a year ago, Beyonce. It's all the singers. I don't understand. I mean, we name our chickens after strong female figures that we are inspired by. So that's where we get our names.
Yes.
So this was really traumatic. Two little puppies, 2 houses down, got through 2 fences, over the separate chicken coop fence, into the chicken coop house, and brought a chicken out, and she didn't make it. So,
And
now
I know this is extra awful for you because you're a vegetarian or vegan too.
I'm a vegan. It is so traumatizing for me. I mean, I had real trauma after that. So now we have Oprah and Michelle left.
Oh,
And so we've
gosh,
had
please don't kill Oprah and Michelle.
So lately, my dog Murray, he's a 65-pound boxer mix, he can jump over the 3.5-foot fence. Now, I will tell you that he never once in his life has gotten in the car by himself. So I have to pick him into the car. Same with the bed. He can get on our bed all day. He gets in the bed, but at night he cries all night because he doesn't want to jump. But he can clear the 3.5-foot fence. So recently, I was on a call, and all of a sudden, my neighbor's ringing my doorbell. And I'm like, oh, Murray's outside. And I go out and I run out there and I yell his name, and out with a mouthful of feathers. I was like, no, not again. He's not like out there for blood, but he's playing.
He doesn't know what the
doesn't
edge
know.
of playing
So
is.
we have since got his electric collar back out, and he's just afraid of just the beep noise. So now it's all like everyone is safe. We have lots of space. He will not get to the fence. We took him off the beep collar for a while because he's like, oh, he's so good, he doesn't need it. Never again.
Your poor chickens. Poor you, because you were such an animal lover and bleeding heart.
And Tom's always at work. I call him frantic. I'm like, get home right now.
How far away does he work?
How
far away does he work?
15 minutes.
So there's been some times he's bailed out and run home, I'm sure.
And just like get home immediately.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That's my life with chickens.
We want to get chickens, and hearing these stories, I'm like, do I really want to get chickens? Because then I have to.
You just need a good fence, a good coop, and then Murray found that he could dig a hole to get into the coop.
That's amazing.
He is brilliant.
Brilliant puppo. Yes. So your animals bring you much joy. Obviously, we titled this episode something about joy, the power of joy. And there is not joy in death. But I'm sure you've had many beautiful, joyful experiences of having this family of humans and animals together. What's your favorite chicken memory?
Oh, early when we first, I think like everyone was only like not even 2 yet. I have a video of Tom, my husband, sitting with Murray, the puppy, and a chicken on top of Murray, just petting everyone. And I just loved that.
That is so sweet. I'm with the natural numbers. The only reason I'm not sure on your numbers, because I think Tom might be the number I think you are. And for some reason, statistically speaking, people rarely end up with their same number. And there is no recorded history of them having children together, but you guys don't. So I'm like, you could be the same number. But Tom just sounds like a delight. He sounds so much like my partner, Justin, like our men who deal with our big energy and celebrate it and do the tasks that we refuse to do because they are just not in joyful alignment.
Yeah, Tom is my person for sure. He is incredible. He is such a delight. And to lovingly, willingly, joyfully be with all of me takes a special kind of person. And Tom is that man.
I love that. Yeah, I feel like Justin is that man for me when it comes to the full intensity of me. I don't seem very intense on the outside, I don't think. I don't think I give off that impression, but in relationship is a whole different ball game for me.
That makes sense. Like, I know I seem that way. Like, from go, people are like, well, she's a lot. But yeah, you're maybe more sneaky about it.
Yeah, I'm like
Yeah.
little rogue with it. I like it. I'm a nerd, so I'll accept that I'm a sneak thief. We'll take that. I play that in D&D all the time. I
I
am
love
I am so nerdy, and you said something the other day about something that you liked, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, we have that in common." And now I can't remember for the life of me what it is. Do you have any nerd claim to fame?
Not, I mean, I'm super dorky. I don't want to say that I'm nerdy, but I'm very dorky, is what I would
What's
say.
your dork claim to fame, though?
What do I do that's dorky? At any moment, well, here's a list. At any moment, I would wear something ridiculous. Like, I would just wear something so that people would be like, "This is extremely dorky," and just be like out in public, like dancing. Like, I will do things to just bring joy to others that I know people are going to be like, they're embarrassed for me. And
If
if
they're
I,
embarrassed for you, they're embarrassed for themselves,
yeah,
right?
being around me, yes. If I'm in a store and stores play good music, like I can't help but just feel like I'm at the club. So I am just like dancing in the store, and my family is just like, okay, 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 okay. But they know that I'm not going to not do it. Um,
Good. Good. No, I love that you frame it as like you're bringing joy out into the world, because that
yeah,
I see that in your energy all the time. And you and I share, so you have this really cool new quiz.
yes, we do.
I think everyone should take it because I'm all about quizzes. I love quizzes. They're just fun. But this is a really cool quiz showing how you best embrace your joy. And 3 out of 4 members of our polycule are all joyful celebrators.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
So we clearly just need to be having parties and dancing all the time, and life will work itself out around us. That's my new theory.
that that's my theory. Life, it's all working. It's all already working. Who am I to get in the middle? Let me just party.
Live the good life,
Yeah.
right? And then everything else kind of energetically works its way around that. And like that's something that I had never really done. I guess money mindset work and things like that until I came into your program about a year ago. And yeah, it really is. It's energy. Like
Mhm.
it is the energy work. I've always been the mental health side of things, which is really just like we're trying to cure you from a diagnosis. And I don't love that. That's actually why I'm leaving the therapy
Mhm.
world, is because I'm like, I just want to like help you embrace your best life. And the medical system really, I mean, because it's part of society, and societal system as it currently is right now is very, you're meant to be a productive member of society. You're meant to work a 9 to 5, and you should be killing yourself in your job. Like that is the societal standard of success right now. And therapy, unfortunately, as it is currently instituted, kind of perpetuates that. Like you're coming in for treatment, you have like a year, the insurance is going to let you come, and you've got to fix your diagnosis and be a productive member of society and be able to maintain your job. Coaching is currently free from that like systemic, this
Mhm.
is the one size, this
Mhm.
is what fits everyone. And so I'm just so inspired because so much of what you bring into the coaching containers is what I bring in as therapist. And I'm like, oh, it's just shifting that perspective. It's
Yeah,
literally shifting that perspective just a few degrees.
that is a great analogy. Just, yeah, moving the thermostat a little bit. We have a different experience with a different temperature.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then that's everything with joy too, right? Like a lot of things is that I can't bring myself to allow myself to experience this enjoyment because insert story excuse here. But in the embracing our authentic expression of joy, we're literally expanding that capacity to experience a wide variety of emotions.
The other thing that I hear people say is like, I just am like too low, or like I'm too down. I can't experience joy. And my response to that is thank you for being where you are. Like, if you are down and if you are low, thank you for letting yourself be there instead of trying to force yourself somewhere else. And what I know is that the capacity that we have for anger and sadness is the capacity that we have for joy. And so if someone tells me that they're down, that they're low, that means they have the capacity to be there and they have the capacity for something else. And so as they be there and process and all the perfect divine timing that they need, I know that they can also choose to be in a different expression when the time is right. And there's no rush or urgency.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, I see that even that no rush or urgency is really how you approach life. And that's because you're in the flow of celebrating and being in joy. You're like, things are going to happen in the right timing. If this person doesn't want to buy into my program, that's totally fine. There's going to be someone else that is. And like, you just kind of keep going with that flow. And the more of us that can step into that, I truly believe the more society is going to heal, and we're going to dismantle this oppressive system of burnout. Like, it's just, I always explain to my clients, stress is normal, burnout's not, but burnout is
Mm.
what society pushes us into.
Yeah, we glorify that we're like doing the most, doing it all. So, often people will say to me, like, I don't know exactly how they phrase it, but it always kind of sounds the same of like, I know you work so much. And I'm like, actually, I don't. I work a lot less than you would think. Once in a while, like this week, I was delivering a challenge, so I worked more than I normally do. So,
Yeah.
like, things have seasons. But actually, I work a lot less than people would think I do. I do live a full life because I'm doing things that are joyful. So I don't like, it's not just easy to get on my calendar because I have limited times that I open up for that. But I am unwilling to pack my life and my work calendar so that I am perpetually stressed, because there's good stressors too. So my
Yep.
body feels a lot of stress because of all the things, and I have to manage that and take care of that. I'm just unwilling to put on that badge of just like cram my work calendar, work around the clock. I used to, and it didn't work well for me. So
Yeah, and I'm there right now, right? Like, I'm already in the burnout phase, and now I'm trying to backtrack, and I'm designing my dream schedule, and this was perfect timing with the Joy Challenge to just have that little infusion of what to think about, right?
yeah.
What does light me up? What is going to be the amount of work versus play versus rest versus creation, that because I definitely I see work and creation is different. Sometimes it depends.
Mhm.
Sometimes creation is work, and sometimes creation is just creation, right? It's the
Yeah,
joy
I
and
can
the
get
flow.
behind that.
So much work, so much creation, so much just being in the flow, and so much resting. And yeah, I love getting called out the other day on the fact that I'm always just hiking up the mountain. I'm always just going, 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 and then I crash. And I strongly believe, and you're a walking embodiment of this, I strongly believe the most impactful thing we can do in the world is heal ourselves. And when we're in alignment, we show other people it's possible. And you're one of the people that showed me it was possible. And like, that's huge. And I want to give you a huge thanks. Like, just thank you for walking in your own darn power, right? Like, society likes to say that's selfish and wrong, and especially if you're assigned female at birth, like, heaven forbid you live a happy successful life, right? And so many of us did not know that that was an option until we meet someone that's taking the option.
It is one of the most challenging things that I've done. Like, in some ways it's simple, but it is one of the most challenging things because the pushback is real. The
Mm-hmm.
judgment, the shame, like the shame that I'm invited to take on that sometimes I choose and often I don't, by other people. And some of the biggest turmoil in relationships, kind of like not my core relationships, but like one or two levels beyond that, have come from me choosing to walk my path. And it makes it challenging to really honor your path when the messaging from people, from just any people, or especially people you love, is we have a judgment about that. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's been challenging.
And I love that you acknowledge that, because you are walking this empowered life now. and you are choosing, right? You're continually choosing to let go of what doesn't serve and recommit to what does. And yeah, there's still struggles in that. Just because we're living in empowerment and fully embracing our authenticity does not mean we lose those lower vibration emotions and that we lose hard feelings, right? And we certainly don't suddenly become empowered and then everybody's just like, look at you go. I'm so happy for you. It reminds me, I had a coaching session with you last year, which really, honest to goodness, was the start of me being public on socials. I don't know if you remember the call, but
I do remember. Yeah.
that's what we were working on, is like, why do I feel like I can't show up in my business? And it was because I couldn't show up visibly. Because the last time I had tried to show up visibly, I was happy for the first time in my life. I was happy for the first time in my life. I had broken out of an abusive relationship. I had broken away from a spiritual community that was doing a whole lot of toxic positivity and spiritual bypassing. And I was finally embracing the fullness of who I was, and I was posting about it. And I literally got emails and messages from people being like, you're just putting on a show right now to try and compete. And I was like, with who? And they're like, well, with your ex, because they're posting happy photos too. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. Good for them. I didn't know they were posting happy photos because I have them blocked on everything. And yeah, I took that so personally. I was like, oh, well, if people don't want to see me happy, then I just won't be seen. Right. And I completely retreated. And so, yeah, there is this major hurdle we have to overcome with being seen in our authentic joy and authentic selves, because we have to be able to stand strong in, this is who I am. And I'm not going to back down from who I am because it makes you uncomfortable.
Because you choose to be uncomfortable.
Love that. Yes.
That's a language that I've really been working on shifting, of like, instead of saying like, oh, I ruffled their feathers, they chose to have their feathers ruffled.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's so true. Like, there are people all the time that I see that have different ideologies than me. And I'm like, okay, that's for them. It's not for me. And I make the choice not to engage.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. And yes, little tweaks in language are so fundamental to I have this metaphor of like, we're full speed ahead in a train, kind of going down not a great path initially in life if we did not have pristine circumstances growing up, which pretty much none of us did because we live in a world with all kinds of turmoil. And so we're hurtling down this, I'm not worth it, I can't do it, I'm this, I'm that, the negative stories. We can't slam the brakes on the train and start it going that way. That's not going to be good for the contents of the train, right? If you try and take a train going full speed ahead and stop it, going to get really ugly. So it's this slowing the train down first, and then we slowly start to turn the train around. And the way that we do that is often through those little micro language changes.
That's powerful, Safrianna. Yeah.
Yeah. We cannot slant, and when I see, of course, like I was talking about earlier, people in the joy challenge who are really struggling with the joy, right? It can be really impossible to slam the brakes on the no joy train to go full speed ahead in the other joy train. So it's like, we want to slow it down. Hold on. What is this resistance? I need to pause, slow down to speed up. I think it is so funny you say slow down to speed up, because that's a thing I say and I had never heard anyone else say it. And I'm like, where is this?
And surely I didn't make it. Like, I've heard so many, wherever I've heard it from, we must have heard it, or it's like permeating into
divine download,
what we need to know. Yeah, it's a lesson that I have to really take on. Like, I have to tell myself a lot, because I am the person that's like, well, let's go.
We call that being a speedy girl in this house. Because we don't say any words properly. And that's my dorky, is we just like make strange sounds around the house. We just yell heck. We're like, heck. And then there's like an echo of hecks throughout the house. That's my dorky.
I love that. I also just like make random noises, sing nonsense songs to my dogs. And I like to abbreviate a lot of words. Like, I don't know that I could give you an example, but just I'm always abbreviating words.
Sesh, fresh,
Yeah.
Yeah, there's all kinds of words we shorten, aren't there?
Yeah, I love a good word abbreviation. A good
A
word
brief.
abbrev. Yeah, here for
Perfect.
it.
Perfect example. What are some other silly things that bring you great joy? So obviously our goofy animals. I'm always posting pictures of my cat Quasi, my blue-eyed deaf cat, because he makes the silliest facial expressions. I literally took, I think, about 50 or 60 pictures of him yesterday. That's my joy. That's my great
I
joy.
love that. Things that bring me joy are potatoes in every form. Every form of potatoes brings me immense joy. So here's a really fun story. Okay, two stories about potatoes. Here we go. Things that bring me joy.
I'm
I
gonna be like, I Kenna, go watch this portion, and it's gonna bring you so much sustenance.
this is gonna start dark, but then get up to joy. Okay, I had a
Okay.
stroke when I was 19, so it's the next morning. I'm in the ICU, like really not conscious. I'm hooked up to all the machines. They're trying to figure out what's going on with me. And my best friend at the time came in. I don't remember this, but the story that I'm told is that she whispered, "Kaela, I brought mashed potatoes." And my heart monitors are, and the nurses come running in, like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" Mom's like, she heard that there's mashed potatoes and her body is in so much excitement. So that's, fact story one. And then another just thing I thought was amusing. So we started sending out to our email list on the weekends, our weekly tea party or weekend tea parties.
I know,
And
I've
it's
loved
just a
those.
fun note from Lisa and I. And at the end, we share some kind of fun fact. And a few weeks ago, I was reading it and realized that the fun fact I submitted to Elise to be included was like, I love potatoes, like every potato in all forms. And I think it was the story about being in the hospital. And my mom's fun fact was like, I love healthy smoothie bowls. And I'm like, cool, 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 cool.
I saw the video of your dad with all the chip bags. I was like, that is some chip dedication.
Yeah.
Dedication.
People think that I'm like my mom until they meet my dad and they're like, oh, it all makes sense. And our love for chips is one of those things.
I love that. You know, of all the wholesome things to have in common, potato chips is a good one. I like that.
Yeah. Love a good chip.
I find that if the chip is in front of me, I can't resist it. I won't buy them, but if I they're Ikenna and Justin's obsession is potato chips. They're each of them is bringing a bag in the house. Like I got these spicy chips, or I got these pickle chips, or I got it
Pickled chips.
salt
Yeah.
and vinegar chips. What's your favorite chip? Do you have a favorite chip?
Well, hip peas, and some might say that hip peas is not a chip, and I would like fine. I'm not here to argue about that, but like hip peas are a real obsession for me. And then just like a good, not like a super greasy potato chip, like a thick cut potato chip.
I'm gonna go study the differences between potato chips now so that I can have it's almost like a wine connoisseur conversation,
Yes.
but
I
potato
also
chips.
I understand my friend Jacqueline calls it the vessel dip game. Like I have a really strong chip vessel dip game because she will try to eat like a potato chip and salsa. And I'm like, no, those things do not go together. Like you have to have the right chip vessel for the right dip.
I agree with that.
And I'm all for letting people live their life until it comes to that. And then I'm like, I will intervene because you
You're
are
like, I will judge about this thing.
you
This
are
is
like if you're
where.
eating potato chips and salsa, you're not living your best life, and I'm going to help you.
Yeah, that does not sound like a good combination to me. Ugh. So, yes, thank you for this conversation. Is there any other joy stuff that you want to share today? Because you're still like very in the energy of this challenge that you've been doing, and I when I think joy, I think of one of two people,
Mhm.
which is you and then M. Shannon Hernandez. You are my two joy people. So any final words about joy?
Here's the final word I have about joy. Let's not take it for granted. The power of joy is immense if we let ourselves tap into it. And what I often see is that people don't slow down enough to really tap into it. Like they'll have a win or a celebration. It's like, okay, cool, but I got to keep going, but I got to get the next. And we miss the opportunity to sink into
Mm,
the power that joy has. And let us not do that anymore because the joy of really being in joy itself, like when we have a joyful moment, to just take it in,
yeah.
and really use all of our senses to be present to it does so much for us that we don't even understand.
Yes. And integrate your moments of joy. Like have
Yeah.
that slowdown where you're like, wow, I had all these moments of joy today or this week or whatever. So your nervous system can receive that in a more ongoing way too. That's a big thing I think people forget to do in the constant go, 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 go is
Yeah.
the integration. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Safrianna. I so appreciate. I love that we just got to be humans together. This is so fun. This is amazing.
Hey, you're welcome back anytime. And obviously, if you're catching this live or the replay, feel free to let us know that you were here. And if you love either of our energies, you know where to find us. So come talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
All
Thanks,
right,
Safrianna.
until next time, bye.